What's going on, guys, and welcome to Who to Sign For. Now in this series I'm giving you my recommendations on what players to sign for a specific team in career mode. Before we go on, I will say that the signings you'll see aren't designed to be realistic and that the player ratings and potentials of the players may vary depending on what database you're using and how they perform for you during the season. Obviously you don't have to follow all the tips, this is really just a set of guidelines to give you a hand if you're stuck for ideas and want some suggestions on what players you could sign for a certain club. This is mainly aimed at those who are out there who may be new to the game and just need a little bit of advice, or for those of you out there who just want a few recommendations on what players you could sign for a team that you may be using in career mode this year. So yes, in today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys, we're going to take a look at Bruno Lage's Wolves. Yes, after a disappointing season in the Premier League last year, finishing in 13th place, Nuno, who had been in charge for quite a while, was replaced. Obviously, he's now gone on to manage Spurs, as we know. Bruno Lage has come in, and after just 36 goals, I think it was all season long in the Premier League last year, one of the lowest scoring teams in the Premier League. This year, Wolves are looking for improvement. Now, Wolves are a 4-star team. They still have a decent budget, though. Of wage budget operation, it's around 45 to 50 mil. So that's a really decent budget for a side that last year finished in mid-table. And despite being a 4-star team, it's a really good side. And I've got to be honest, if you are looking for an RTG with a Premier League club this year in FIFA career mode, but also a team that have their own club identity, which you can continue with or change and mould into your own, I mean, look no further than Wolverhampton Wanderers. This is a great team to use this year in FIFA career mode. Coming on the back of a disappointing season, they obviously just got their new manager. As we know, their club culture, they're very, very keen on bringing in Portuguese players. As we know, have a real major amount of Portuguese players currently in their squad right now. That's their club identity. You can continue with that or make it into your own. And again, it's a team that, despite being 4-star, has some decent potential. And it's got a lot of young players as well. Yes, as I run you through this squad here, you'll notice a few seniors in the team, such as João Moutinho at 34 years old, Raul Jimenez also in his 30s as well. But you've got a lot of players in the early 20s and teens as well that have some decent potential for the future. This is a really decent project to use, Wolves, no doubt about it, and certainly one I recommend for a FIFA CM this year. So as I run you through the side here, as you can see, several players have their deals that come at the end of the year. Now I think there's 3 players that are loaned out and 2 players loaned in. As you can see with Wolves, there are a couple of players that are noteworthy that their deals that come at the end of the year. João Moutinho, the most noteworthy of them all, of course. Then you've got John Ruddy, Marcao, and also Saiss as well. Now personally speaking, I wouldn't give a contract to any of the Wolves players with their deals that come at the end of the year, and that includes the youngsters, and it also includes Moutinho as well. Now if you can't handle selling the vet, then personally at 34 years old, I'd keep him for the season and let him go on a free transfer come the end of the year. Sadly, unfortunately, despite his evident class and ability, he is going to decline pretty quickly in the first season. You'll need a long-term successor. So I put 3 players on the short list. Those 3 players do have the deals come the end of the year. Marcao, the left back, Saiss, the centre half, and also John Ruddy too. Now we sold Roman Saiss to Monaco for 8.5 mil. And what you'll notice here is I didn't negotiate with the clubs that put the bids in. You just want to get these guys' salaries off the books. They're towards their 30s, they're not going to grow, they're only going to get worse, and you can get better and younger as well. We sold Saiss to Monaco, Marcao went to Celta Vigo, didn't get too much money for them, just over 13 mil, but it raises our budget to over 60 million pounds, and because their wages were quite high compared to their current ability, it's good to get their salaries off the books as well. But for signings with Wolves, what areas would I look to improve here with Wolves? Well, ironically, despite being a low-scoring team last year, they got a really good attack, you know, they got a really good attack. Traore on the left, as we know, the speedster. On the right, you can use Trincao on loan from Barcelona, or perhaps Pedro Neto, even Diogo Jota if you want. And up top, spearheading your attack, you got the magical Mexican Raul Jimenez, who's an absolute beast, and Fabio Silva, a great young talent as well. You don't need new forwards in this team. Personally speaking, I'd look to replace the seniors in this team. Now, Roman, of course, is going to go in the first season. João Moutinho is 34. He is going to decrease sharply as well. And whilst you've got Dendoncker on the bench, those are the 2 positions I'd look to strengthen with this Wolves team. Make them younger and make them better. Centre half is the key. I'd definitely bring a new class centre back to go straight into your back 5. 4 names on the shortlist for Fana, Lacroix, Botman, and also Christensen as well. Now, all 4 of these guys really good, 3 of which in the early 20s, and Christensen, as we know, Chelsea has his deal at come the end of the year, so you should be able to get him on quite a cheap transfer. In the end, the lowest fee I negotiated was for Sven Botman of Lille. 21 years old, but already 79 overall, and this guy's got 85 potential as well. I'd say that Botman and Christensen are going to cost you around the same amount of money. Botman might be slightly cheaper, but I definitely would recommend recommend a Dutch centre-half if you're looking to save your pennies and stretch your transfer budget. At just 21 years old, he's got a lot of room to grow. He's got some fantastic defensive stats, and he's so strong. He already starts off with 88 strength. He's 6'4", so he'll be great in the air as well when balls come into your box with a medium-high work rates. And as well, I got to say, despite his pace being low, with the defensive stats and the physicality, this guy's going to be a brick wall in your back five. So he's the perfect successor for Ronan Saiss to put him into your back five alongside Connor Cody and Willy Bolly. You'll need a replacement for the Ivorian soon, but not in the first season. Botman or Christensen, however, those are my two main targets I'd recommend. In this one, I went for Sven Botman. So after the signing there, we still had around 42 mil because it was such a cheap deal. Only 26 million, I think it was, to bring him in from Lille. So if you're going to bring someone else in to replace João Moutinho, you've got a lot of cash to work with. And my number one target, in fact, my primary target to bring in to replace João Moutinho, look no further than this guy. Now, obviously, as we know, Wolves have got a bit of a Portuguese feel. They like to sign a lot of Portuguese players. This guy, I gotta say, I couldn't recommend anyone else to replace João Moutinho. It's Renato Sanchez of Lille, Sven Botman's teammate. They won Ligue 1 together last season, and Sanchez is just a fabulous midfielder. Since joining Bayern Munich, his career did stall a little bit, but he's only 23 years old and he's already 80 overall. He is a jack of all trades and a real all-rounder. This guy can do anything with high work rates, fabulous player with 4-star skills and weak foot as well. He's quick, he's a great dribbler of the ball, he's got bags of energy with 87 stamina already and some great passing stats as well. As a box-to-box, this guy is absolutely fantastic. He's going to become elite in a few years' time in your save as well. To replace Moutinho, he's the same overall, but he's 11 years younger. He is the perfect replacement for João Moutinho, and again, you can get him for close to his valuation. I think we spent 31 mil to get him from Lille, and that's an absolute steal for such a great young talent. 86 potential with dynamic potential, and no reason why you can't get this guy into the high 80s, possibly 90 at a stretch. He is an amazing young midfielder and the perfect successor for João Moutinho. So we found a successor for Saiss in the back line and now Moutinho as well. And as we know, after Rui Patricio left in the summer, Wolves brought in Jose Sá to replace him. You will want a better backup goalkeeper for the bench though, because John Ruddy is very old and he's also only 70 overall. Look no further than this guy, another Portuguese shot stopper, as we continue with the Portuguese club culture here with Wolves. 75 overall, 21-year-old Diogo Costa, really good young talent, no doubt about it. And again, 5 ratings higher than Ruddy, but let's just say a lot younger than the veteran Englishman. And whilst he won't replace Jose Sá in the first season, he's only 4 ratings lower and several years younger as well. So he'll become better and become your number one in time because he's got 86 potential. So in the first season, he'll be your bench warmer and your cup goalkeeper. From season 2 onwards, no reason why he can't replace Jose Sá. So the long-term successors already done right there in the first transfer window. Sanchez for João Moutinho, Botman for Renan Saiss, and also Costa for Jose Sá as the years go by as well. This Wolves team does not need a major change. There's some really decent young talent. It's already got a good base squad as well. It just needs a few younger players and long-term successors as well. So we sold 2 players for 13 mil. We signed 3 players for 66.5 mil. It's a net loss of just under 53.5 million, but believe me, the groundwork laid down in the first season, that is an excellent transfer window in my opinion for this Wolves team with already a decent base. So as per usual, we would simulate to the end of the season and see how we got on, and as you could see, after being asked to reach the last 16 of the FA Cup and finish in a Europa League spot, 2 incredibly tough objectives in Season 1 with Wolves, we did miss out on the top 6, unfortunately, but that is a really tough objective in Season 1. And the reason I didn't reference the objectives earlier when we started to save off is because, personally speaking, I don't think in the first season you need to get Wolves in the top 6. That's a very tough aim in Season 1 with a 4-star team. To break up the traditional Big 6 is going to be a very difficult task in the first season. Personally, to me, I think all you need to do is get in the top 10. We did that. We were 6 points behind Dean Smith's Aston Villa as they go into the Europa Conference League. Listen, European football back at Molyneux next season, that'll be a dream. But in my opinion, the first season, top 6 is just such a difficult ask for a 4-star Wolves team in a very competitive Premier League. To me, after a 13th place finish last year, my own personal objective for you guys at Wolves will be quite simple. Just get back in the top 10. Get back in the top 10. Become a top 10 side. Don't worry about European European football. If you get it, it's a bonus. If you don't, it's not too disappointing of a blow. As to Carabao Cup, not counting towards the board objectives, but I'll show you where you got to. As you could see, in the first season, we were knocked out by Arsenal in the 4th round, not considered an objective by the board though. But the FA Cup, after West Ham beat Brentford in an all-London affair, what an interesting FA Cup final that was. We were asked to reach the last 16, in the end we went one round further and reached the quarter-finals, losing to Crystal Palace by 4-2. So we exceeded our cup objective, going one round further than the board wanted, though technically we did fail our league objective. I'll hold my hands up there. But really, again, personally, I don't think you should be targeting the top 6 in the first season. If you're being very ambitious, hey, full power to you. You go for it, man. You try and get into the Europa League. But that's a very difficult ask in the first season. To me, I would just say top 10, getting better than last season, and again, finding those long-term successors for your seniors. Renato Sanchez, Sven Botman, and Diego Costa. I couldn't recommend 3 better players than that. 2 Portuguese players with a realistic feel, and also Botman, a great centre-half that's going to become an absolute man-mountain as the years go by. So, yeah, I definitely recommend this Wolves team for a career mode this year. I've got to be honest, just a great team to use. You know, coming on the back of a disappointing and subpar season by their standards. The real stadium in the game at Molineux, absolutely brilliant ground. Of course, they've got plans to expand it as the years go by. Big fan of Wolves' kits as well, particularly their away kit. They got a 3rd kit too for when you are playing those European games. And as Botman grew 4 ratings here, by the way, to 83 overall. What a bargain that is for 26 million. Again, it's a team with some really decent young talent. As I'm going you through the squad here, you won't notice too many downgrades, but you will notice a lot of improvement because they've got so many young players in this team, and many of which do have some decent potential as well. So there are a few players that probably won't make the grade as the years go by, but there are certain players you can look out for in the future that will have roles to play in your first team. Again, first season for me with Wolves, it was a decent season. You know, we didn't get the Europa League, but that to me is a very tough objective. Top 10 is more than good enough in the first season for Wolves, in my opinion. And again, going pretty far in the cup is a nice bonus as well. But I definitely recommend Wolves for a career mode this year. If you're looking for an RTG, if you're looking for a Premier League side, if you're looking for a team that's got a decent base, some good young talent, a club culture you can either change or add to, couldn't recommend Wolves further. They're a great team, and I had a lot of fun changing them in the first season. That was this episode to sign for, guys. Big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it and appreciate the tips as well. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Who to Sign For very soon.